You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
And we are at the moment talking to James Crane for the Kent County Council Community Wardens. James, I know we're now going to talk about Halloween and bonfire night, which is hard to believe we've come round to that, but not far off at all now.
Yeah, indeed. I think last time I was on, I was giving people advice about going away for the summer and everything else, and now I'm talking about Halloween, which is happening at the end of next month. But yeah, Halloween, as you all know, is All Hallows Eve, going out, knocking on doors, getting sweets, scaring the living daylights out of people. But I just want some guidelines for it. For those that will be taking part in the trick-or-treating, just want to remind people that it's advisable to firstly take an adult with you. I know some people do get intimidated by large groups of people wandering around and banging on people's doors. So, if possible, take an adult with you just to try and calm some people down if they see you. Only call at houses where people know you. A lot of people don't particularly like people knocking on the door, especially at night time. So it's another thing to remember. If you see a sign in people's doors asking you not to call, then please don't. There are a number of elderly residents live in some places, and myself and my colleagues are inundated with requests for the no Halloween caller stickers. So if you see a house there, please don't knock at it and respect that person's wishes. And also don't throw eggs and flour. I know part of the trick or treating is the playing of tricks, but eggs and flour, it's not nice to get them off of cars or windows, etc. And also many shops won't actually sell eggs and or flour to persons under the age of 16 at this time of year, simply for the reason as mentioned earlier. Another thing to mention is, so we've got bonfire night coming up less than a week after Halloween. So obviously celebrating the gunpowder plot, Guy Fawkes blow up House of Parliament, royal family, etc, etc. So it's important to remember that it's safer to go to an organised display. They've got all the safety boundaries set in, distances from the fireworks, bonfire, etc, etc, all the licences for the professional grade ones. So yeah, try and go to an organised display if possible. There's plenty of them that get advertised or start to be advertised around this time of year. If you do hold a firework display in your own back garden, only buy fireworks with a mark on them which is BS 7114. That's Bravo Sierra 7114. This is basically the British standard. It shows that the fireworks have passed a rigorous set of quality control, just so that they're a lot safer for you to use, rather than some other brands. But also, it's against the law for any shop to sell fireworks to anyone under the age of 18. But it's also illegal for anyone under the age of 18 to be in possession of fireworks, regardless of if they're going from the car into the house or from the shop to the car or wherever. It's illegal for anyone to have them under the age of 18. With fireworks, there's about 5 different categories you can have them in, ranging from the little indoor ones right up to your big professional grade ones. And it's actually illegal for anyone owning fireworks intended for professional display without the correct licences. And also, finally, on the illegality of it, it's illegal to set off fireworks after 11 o'clock at night and before 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's from 2300 through to 0700. You're not allowed to set them off unless it's on November the 5th, when it's actually extended to midnight. And 3 other festivals: you've got New Year's Eve, Diwali and the Chinese New Year, when that's extended to 1 o'clock in the morning. But for further information about the fireworks code, there's a website which is www.dti, that's Delta Tango India, .gov.uk/fireworks. But if fireworks are used in a manner that can cause a nuisance, then you are liable for an £80 fine. And if they're used dangerously, i.e. firing them at people or doing whatever it is that people want to do with them, the maximum prison sentences can be life. I don't want to harp on at the negative side of this. I want people to enjoy these celebrations and enjoy them safely. So if you bear in mind what I've said, we can all enjoy the festivals in a nice way.
James, how can you make yourself more visible when on an unlit road at night?
Yeah, well, it's especially prevalent at the moment when the nights are closing in. I mean, this time a couple of months ago, it was still quite light outside, and it's just surprising how quickly we've.
Well, I can't believe how quick it's dark. It's dark, and we're not even at 8 o'clock yet.
I know. It's literally just been sitting here chatting away and just watching the night close in. But keeping yourself visible on an unlit road, well, the simple answer is wear bright clothing. It's surprising how much warm clothing is actually manufactured in dark, sober colours. I mean, my work fleece, it's nice and warm, but it's dark green. And the only thing that stands it out is the fact I've got a high-vis panel on the back and a stripe that runs front and back. It's fine for motorists, but not much for pedestrians, which 70% of what I do is on foot. So being visible at night for me, especially in a rural area that I cover, staying visible is one thing that I like to try and do. I mean, preferably try and wear a bright reflective coat and or leggings. Not the best of fashion statements, but if it keeps you visible when walking along a road, then fair play. So go with it. If it's not done, as a minimum, consider wearing a reflective sash over your outer garments. I mean, this is simply one of those that goes over your shoulder, around your waist. Cycle shops should sell them. You can also buy just small armbands. It's about the size of. Let's try to think. A5. It's about the size of an A6. Piece of paper, just goes around your arm with a bit of elastic, and just holds itself there. It's fine, reflects quite nicely. Secondly, you can carry a torch. Powerful torches are nowadays small and reasonably lightweight. Many of them are LED design, which they're reliable, extremely bright, and they can be seen more easily than the conventional torch bulb. Many of these will be capable of flashing their beam, which is more notable than a steady light. And finally, walk where you can you be. Yeah, I'll get my teeth in this night. Walk where you can be seen. I mean, I don't expect people to walk in the middle of the road, as even if no footpaths exist, this would be foolish. But it's equally foolish to stay in the banks and hedgerows where drivers would find it hard to spot you, even if they were expecting you to be there.
If there is no footpath present, which side of the road should you walk on?
Well, this follows on from the previous one of making yourself more visible on an unlit road, because sometimes when there's no footpath, there's very little to no street lighting. But it's important to remember that there's no single hard and fast rule to observe, other than to say you should walk where you can best be seen. On a straight road, this is easy. You ought to walk on the right-hand side of the road, where you'll be facing the oncoming traffic. That way you can see what's coming, you can take steps to avoid it. Also, the drivers can see you a lot better. The problem comes when you approach a bend. Especially if you're walking on a country road, perhaps with hedging or a high bank running alongside. I know some country roads that they have a bit of a ditch dug on one side. If the road bends to the right, you should consider crossing it, so you'll be walking on the outside of the bend. So you're always more visible to traffic if you keep on the outside of the bend. This is because the oncoming traffic from in front will often stick close to the near side of the road, as to give much clearance as possible to traffic coming towards them. Basically, this is all about avoiding collisions in cars. So if you didn't cross the road to keep on the outside of the bend, you could risk being run over by those drivers who hug the near side edge. You must, of course, keep very aware of any traffic coming from behind you, and be prepared to stop and turn sideways and stand still to allow the traffic to pass by. I am aware that some advice clings to the rule that you should always walk on the right to face the oncoming traffic, but this does increase the risk to yourself on right-hand bends. Left-hand bends are not so much of a problem, as by facing the oncoming traffic, you will stay on the outside of the bend where you are always most visible.
James, I know you wanted to next cover frost and snow damage on the roads, the highways.
Yes, I mean, it seems weird talking about snow in September, but when you look at the way the weather's been going recently, who knows? But Kent County Council's got a duty of care towards its visitors and residents, and this is particularly relevant at the start of spring when winter has been especially cold. Obviously, remember back to earlier this year when it was bitterly cold, and it could cause a bit of problems on the roads. But basically, cold weather leaves a number of potholes and broken surfaces which KCC are keen to be told about. The potholes are caused by frost water freezing the soil under the road, causing it to expand, which cracks the surface. And the ground then thaws, the water drains away, leaving the cracked surface to fall into the crevice, thereby creating the pothole. Kent County Council are always keen to learn of any potholes and broken surfaces in adopted highways. An adopted highway is one where KCC have agreed to maintain, and generally this includes all concreted or asphalted roads and pavements in the borough. An unadopted road is usually a road which is not yet asphalted or concreted, and as a result KCC have no responsibility to maintain these surfaces.
James, what tips do you have for us for keeping secure in the winter?
Well, burglars and crooks take special notice of houses that appear to be empty, and effort should therefore be spent in making an empty house appear to be occupied if you're to deter burglars whilst you're away. Obvious security measures, regardless of the length of time you're away, are to ensure that all doors have 5-lever mortise locks fitted, in addition to a night latch, i.e. a Yale lock. Windows too should be closed and locked. Devices to close windows, even to lock them, they can be bought quite inexpensively. It's often sufficient to deter a would-be burglar. Double glazed windows are usually manufactured with locking devices fitted. Make sure you use these devices and keep the keys etc. handy but out of sight. Put them in a place where you know where they are, maybe in a pot or something in your kitchen that's in a cupboard. Just keep a copy of some keys in here. Makes it easy, especially with car keys and the battery in one key goes flat. Not that I've had experience of that before. An obvious precaution is to ensure that milk and paper orders are cancelled during the holiday, as accumulations of the uncollected ones of these are a sure sign of inactivity. Mail and parcels might sometimes be left on show in the porches or by doors, and this can give burglars further clues. Insist that your postperson always pushes mail right through your letterbox, and use the services of a guardian neighbour to remove any parcels etc. that are left in porches until you return home to collect them. This too applies to the delivery of free newspapers, where all too often they are delivered unsolicited and left on show in porches or hanging out of letterboxes. Delivery agents should be trained to push every item through letterboxes, but all too often this isn't done, and the risk of burglary increases as a result. Very often, a neighbour or nearby friend will agree to visit your house on a daily basis during your absence. This is so they can draw the curtains across the windows at night and open them again in the morning. Another tactic might be to allow your neighbour to park a car on your driveway. Many people have more than one car nowadays, and therefore this is another option that can be considered. Lights, especially standard lamps and table lights, can easily be operated in your absence by time switches, thus making it appear that someone is at home when in fact you're not. The same device can be used to switch radios on and off, and this will also give the impression that someone is at home.
James, before you go, I was just wondering if you had any useful contact details for us.
Yes, indeed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through contact details for Kent Police, Strawborough Council, and two numbers of Kent County Council, being Highways and Trading Standards. I mentioned earlier regarding the fireworks. Trading Standards is one of those people that monitor fireworks sales quite closely, and obviously keen for any information for any places that may be underage selling. So going back with Kent Police, 2 phone numbers. You've got the emergency and non-emergency. Obviously, we all know the emergency number is 999, and the non-emergency number is 101. It literally is just those 3 numbers, 101. Swale Council, you've got the normal call centre number, which is local, so it's 01795 417 850. If you go through there, you'll be able to report anything like fly tipping, graffiti, and if you want to make any contacts to any other agency, you can do so through that number. That's 417 850. Then there's the Community Safety Unit, which is also based at Swale House. If you dial the previous number, it will get through that way, but their direct number is 417 193. That's 417 193. Going on to Kent County Council, we've got Kent Highways, which is 08458 247 800. Obviously, I mentioned about the potholes earlier. That's a number that you can contact Highways on. Training standards, mentioned earlier about the fireworks. It's 08457 585 497. And also you've got the website for information on fireworks, which is www.dti.gov.uk/fireworks. And finally, finding out information regarding community wardens, the people who I work for, the Community Warden Service. So it's available on www.kent.gov.uk/community wardens.
James, as always, it's great to have you here at the Monday Night Community Show. Thank you very much for coming along this evening.
That's okay, Daniel. It's been a pleasure for me to come along and give out some information once again to residents of Swale.
And we'll see you in a couple of months' time, James.
Indeed. Good night.
That's James Crane from the Kent County Council Community Wardens, as a part of our regular slot here at the Monday Night Community Show with me, Daniel, this evening.